Right now, in a Chinese city, a hot meal is flying through the air toward an apartment balcony. No driver, no scooter, no one stuck in traffic. A small drone lifted off from a restaurant a few minutes ago, climbed above the gridlock, followed a preset air corridor across the city, and is about to lower a sealed box of food to a rooftop pickup point where the customer will collect it and never once think about the fact that dinner just arrived by aircraft. That is not a pilot program, that is not a stunt, that is a normal Tuesday in China's cities, happening hundreds of thousands of times over. Here is the number that should genuinely stop you. As of early 2026, China had more than 5 million drones registered and in active service, flying deliveries, spraying crops, inspecting power lines, carrying passengers, putting on light shows, and doing 100 other jobs. And behind almost all of it sits a single, uncomfortable fact for the rest of the world. One Chinese company controls roughly 70% of the entire global drone market and around 90% of the drones ordinary consumers and businesses buy anywhere on Earth. If you have ever seen a drone filming a wedding, inspecting a roof, or flying over a football stadium anywhere in the world, including in America, there is a very good chance it was Chinese. And almost nobody in the West noticed the moment the sky quietly changed hands. This is the part that has made governments in Washington and Europe deeply nervous, and it is worth being fair about why. At the turn of the century, the United States led the world in drone technology. American engineers pioneered it, but somewhere along the way, while the West focused on expensive military machines, China quietly took over the everyday sky. The commercial drones, the delivery drones, the farming drones, the passenger drones, and built a manufacturing and technology lead so deep that the West now finds it almost impossible to compete. And a country that dominates the drones that deliver your packages today, the argument goes, holds an enormous advantage in far more serious things tomorrow. Today, we are counting down 7 Chinese drones and drone technologies that put the West on edge. A swarm of thousands of drones flying in perfect formation. A farming drone that does the work of dozens of people. A passenger drone, an actual flying taxi with no pilot, that has been officially certified to carry human beings. And at number 1, the company that so completely dominates the world's skies that entire governments are trying, and mostly failing, to break its grip. Before we get into it, if you enjoy videos like this, hit the like button right now. These take a serious amount of research and time to put together, and every like pushes this video out to more people who would love it. Subscribe as well, so you never miss what we cover next. 7 reasons the West suddenly looked up and realized it had lost the sky. Let's count them down. Number 7, the drone light show swarms. Thousands of machines, one flawless mind. Start with the one that looks like pure entertainment, until you understand what it actually demonstrates. Over the last few years, China has become the world capital of the drone light show. Displays where thousands upon thousands of small drones lift off together at night and fly in perfect synchronized formation, painting enormous 3-dimensional images and animations across the sky. Dragons that coil through the air, spinning globes. Words and logos hundreds of feet tall, hanging in the dark. These shows have repeatedly broken world records for the sheer number of drones flying in a single, coordinated display. Formations of many thousands of aircraft, all in the air at once, all moving in flawless unison without colliding. Now, on the surface, this is a beautiful, harmless spectacle, and much of the time that is exactly what it is. But sit with the technical reality of what you are watching, because it is the reason this belongs on a list about making the West nervous. To fly thousands of drones in tight formation, in the dark, in the wind, without a single one drifting into another, you have to solve one of the hardest problems in all of robotics: swarm coordination. Every drone has to know precisely where it is, where every other drone is, and where it is supposed to go next, and it has to adjust in real time, continuously, as conditions change. Thousands of machines behaving as a single, unified intelligence. That capability, getting huge numbers of autonomous flying machines to act as one coordinated whole, is one of the most valuable and sensitive technologies in the modern world. A country that can make 10,000 drones dance in perfect formation for a festival has, by definition, mastered the underlying science of controlling 10,000 drones. The light show is the friendly, festive face of a capability with very serious implications. And China puts on the best light shows on Earth. The light shows prove China has mastered the swarm, but the next drone put that mastery to work on something far more practical, feeding the country. Number 6. The agricultural drone swarms, the farm hens that fly. Farming is one of the oldest and most labour-intensive activities in human history. Spraying a field of crops with fertiliser or pesticide traditionally meant hours of back-breaking work on foot, or expensive machinery, or crop dusting planes that only huge farms could afford. In rural China, as in much of the world, it was slow, exhausting, and increasingly hard to staff as young people left the countryside for the cities. Chinese companies, led by firms like XAG and the agricultural division of the drone giant we will get to at number 1, rebuilt that entire task around drones. An agricultural drone is a rugged, heavy-lifting flying machine that carries a tank of liquid or a hopper of seed and sprays or spreads it across a field with a precision no human and no tractor can match. It flies a programmed path just above the crops, applying exactly the right amount to exactly the right places using a fraction of the chemicals and water that old methods wasted, and they work in swarms. A single operator standing at the edge of a field with a tablet can supervise multiple drones spraying at once, covering in a single afternoon an area that would have taken a team of workers days. The drones map the field, plan the route, avoid obstacles, refill and get back to work, largely on their own. What used to require dozens of labourers now requires one person and a set of flying machines. The scale of adoption in China is staggering. These drones have spread across the countryside as standard farming equipment backed by government subsidies, and they are now being exported around the world, from Southeast Asia to Latin America, to increasingly the fields of Europe and the Americas. Here is why that matters beyond farming. Precision agriculture is one of the keys to feeding a growing planet with less waste and less environmental damage. China did not just adopt this technology, it built the machines the rest of the world is now buying to do it. Once again, a Chinese company owns the tools for a task the entire world needs to do. Agricultural drones conquered the farm, but the next drones took on jobs that are not just hard, but genuinely dangerous for human beings. Number 5. The firefighting and inspection drones, the machines that do the jobs that kill people. Some jobs are dangerous in a way that no amount of training fully fixes. Fighting a fire in a high-rise tower, dozens of floors up, where ladders cannot reach. Inspecting a high-voltage power line strung across a mountain valley. Checking the underside of a bridge, the inside of a chimney, the face of a dam. For all of human history, these jobs meant sending a person into danger. China increasingly sends a drone instead. On the firefighting side, Chinese companies have built heavy-duty drones designed to fight fires in tall buildings. Machines that can fly up the outside of a burning skyscraper to a floor no fire truck ladder can reach, and deliver water, foam, or fire suppressant directly to the flames, or punch through a window to attack a fire from the outside. In a high-rise fire, where the greatest danger is often the floors above the reach of ground equipment, a drone that can simply fly up to the fire is a genuine lifesaver. On the inspection side, the impact is even broader. A country the size of China has an almost unimaginable amount of infrastructure to maintain. Hundreds of thousands of miles of power lines, countless bridges, dams, wind turbines, oil pipelines, and railways. Traditionally, inspecting all of that meant sending crews to climb towers, dangle from ropes, and walk dangerous structures. Now drones do it, flying along power lines with cameras and thermal sensors, spotting a failing component or a hotspot before it causes a blackout or a fire, all without a single human leaving the ground. The pattern here is one you will see across this whole video. China faced a problem of enormous scale. Too much dangerous work, not enough people willing to risk their lives doing it, and solved it by putting the work in the air on autonomous machines. And having built those machines for its own vast infrastructure, it now sells them to everyone else. The West needs to inspect its aging bridges and power grids too. Increasingly, the drones doing it are Chinese. Rescue and inspection drones handle the dangerous jobs, but the next drone attacked the single most familiar part of daily life, the delivery to your door. Number 4. The Meituan delivery drones dinner by air in minutes. In China's dense, crowded, high-rise cities, food delivery is not a luxury. It is a massive, everyday industry, with hundreds of millions of orders flying around on the backs of scooters through choked traffic. The delivery app giant Meituan looked at that traffic and asked a question the West is still mostly just talking about. What if the food simply flew over it? Starting back in 2017, Meituan began building a real operational drone delivery network, not a demo, a working service. A customer orders food through the app. At a participating location, the order is loaded into a drone. The drone lifts off, climbs into a dedicated air corridor mapped above the city, flies a fixed route over the gridlock, and lowers the package to an automated pickup point near the customer, often in a matter of minutes. The customer walks down, scans a code, and collects a meal that travelled the last few miles entirely by air. Over the years, this network has completed hundreds of thousands of real deliveries, growing into one of the largest commercial drone delivery operations on the planet, in the same league as the delivery drone efforts of the biggest Western tech companies, and in terms of everyday at-scale operation, arguably ahead of them. Here is what makes this genuinely hard and genuinely impressive. Delivering by drone at scale is not just about the aircraft, it is about air traffic control for potentially thousands of small drones weaving through a crowded city, managing the routes so they never conflict, handling wind between skyscrapers, dealing with weather, and doing it all safely above people's heads, day after day. Solving that turns the low-altitude sky above a city into usable, organized infrastructure, a new layer of the economy that simply did not exist before. While much of the West is still stuck in trials and regulatory debate, China has been quietly running the real thing, learning from millions of flights. Delivery drones carry your dinner, but the next aircraft is built to carry something far more precious, you. Number 3, the Autoflight Cargo eVTOL, the truck that flies between cities. Now we move up in size and ambition, from small delivery drones to aircraft big enough to change how goods and eventually people move between entire cities. A company called Autoflight is one of the leaders in a technology with an awkward name, but a huge future. The eVTOL, electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. In plain terms, a large electric aircraft that lifts straight up like a helicopter, but then flies forward efficiently like a plane, with no runway required, no pilot in some versions, and no fuel-burning engine. Autoflight has focused on the cargo and long-range side of this, building large, uncrewed aircraft designed to carry heavy loads over meaningful distances. Think of it as a flying truck, a vehicle that can lift a substantial payload from one point, fly it directly to another, across a bay, a mountain range, or between two cities, and land vertically at the other end, bypassing roads, traffic, and terrain entirely. The company has demonstrated milestone flights connecting cities directly through the air, pointing toward a future where cargo routinely skips the highway. Why does this make the West nervous? Because it is the bridge between today's small delivery drones and tomorrow's full-scale air transport economy. Whoever masters large, electric, autonomous flight, aircraft that can move real weight cheaply, without pilots or runways, will hold a commanding position in the future of logistics and eventually of travel. It is an entirely new category of aircraft, and China is not a follower in it. It is one of the leaders, with companies flying real hardware while much of the Western effort remains tangled in development and regulation. And here is the thing about these aircraft: the same technology that flies a cargo pod across a bay can, with the right certification, fly a person. Which brings us to the aircraft that already does, the one that genuinely sounds like science fiction until you realize it is real, certified, and flying today. Number 2, the EHang Passenger Air Taxi, a flying taxi with no pilot and official permission to carry you. For decades, the flying car and the air taxi were the ultimate symbol of a future that never quite arrived. Every few years, someone would promise it, and it would never come. A Chinese company called EHang made it real and, crucially, made it official. EHang builds a passenger-carrying autonomous drone, essentially a small electric aircraft, big enough for a person or two to sit inside, that flies itself. There is no pilot. There are no controls for the passenger to operate. You get in, the destination is set, and the aircraft takes off vertically, flies you there through the air, and lands entirely on its own, monitored from the ground but flown by its own systems. For years, the obstacle to this was never really the technology, it was trust and law. No aviation authority wanted to be the first to certify a pilotless aircraft to carry ordinary members of the public, because if something went wrong, the consequences were unthinkable. That is the barrier EHang broke through. Chinese aviation regulators put the aircraft through the full, rigorous certification process an aircraft must pass to be deemed safe, and granted it the official approvals required to carry passengers. That made it, by many accounts, the first fully autonomous passenger-carrying aircraft of its kind in the world, to be officially certified to fly people commercially. Sit with the significance of that. It is not a prototype doing test flights in an empty field. It is a certified aircraft, cleared by a national aviation authority to carry human beings with no pilot on board. The air taxi, the thing the entire world has been promising and failing to deliver for half a century, got certified and started operating in China first. Tourism flights, short city hops, and point-to-point air travel with no driver are moving from fantasy toward routine, and China got there ahead of everyone. This is a huge part of what China calls its low-altitude economy, a national strategy to turn the sky just above our heads into a whole new layer of transport and commerce. EHang put a person in an autonomous aircraft and got permission to do it. But all of these companies, all of these breakthroughs, sit in the shadow of one single company, the one at number one, whose dominance is so total that it has become a genuine geopolitical problem. Number one, DJI, the company that quietly conquered the world's skies. At number one is not a single drone, but the company behind more drones than every competitor on Earth combined, DJI, based in the southern tech city of Shenzhen. And it earns the top spot for one simple, staggering reason. DJI does not just lead the global drone market, it owns it. The estimates vary slightly, but they all tell the same story. DJI controls somewhere around 70% of the entire global drone market and roughly 90% of the consumer drones sold anywhere in the world. In the United States specifically, a country now openly worried about Chinese technology, DJI is estimated to hold something close to 80% of the commercial drone market. Police departments, fire departments, filmmakers, farmers, construction firms, and hobbyists across America and Europe overwhelmingly fly Chinese drones, because DJI's products are, bluntly, better and cheaper than anything the West has managed to produce. If you picture a drone in your head right now, you are almost certainly picturing a DJI. How did one company achieve this? Through a combination the West has struggled to counter: an early start, relentless innovation, aggressive pricing, and, most importantly, the deepest drone supply chain on the planet. DJI sits at the center of Shenzhen, a city that manufactures the motors, batteries, cameras, radios, and flight controllers that go into drones, all clustered together. That ecosystem lets DJI design, build, and improve drones faster and cheaper than competitors scattered across the world who have to import their parts. Rivals do not just have to beat DJI's products, they have to rebuild an entire industrial ecosystem to even try. And this is exactly where the nervousness turns into official action. The United States government has moved directly against DJI, naming the company in national defense legislation and ordering security reviews with the threat of banning its drones from the American market entirely, citing fears about data and security. The deeper worry, stated openly by American analysts, is strategic. The same manufacturing base, the same autonomy software, the same swarm and flight control expertise that lets China dominate the commercial drone market also has profound military implications. Drones have reshaped modern conflict, and the country that builds most of the world's drones and all of the components inside them holds a card no one else can easily match. Whoever controls the drone supply chain, the argument goes, controls something that matters far beyond package delivery. Here is why DJI is number one, and why it is the perfect ending to this list. Every other entry, the light shows, the farm drones, the air taxis, is a symptom. DJI is the cause. It is the single clearest example of a pattern the West keeps discovering too late, China took a technology the West invented, quietly outbuilt everyone at it, wrapped up the entire global supply chain, and ended up controlling the sky itself. And now, having realized what happened, the West is discovering the hardest truth of all, that when one country has that complete a grip on an entire technology, you cannot simply pass a law and make it go away. You would have to build the whole thing yourself, from scratch. And that is exactly what China spent the last 20 years making sure would be almost impossible to do. Recap montage. 7 reasons the West looked up and realized it had lost the sky. Thousands of drones flying as a single mine disguised as a festival light show. Swarms of flying farmhands feeding a nation, and now the world. Machines that fly up burning skyscrapers and along mountain power lines so people do not have to. A delivery network that flies your dinner over the traffic. A flying cargo truck that skips the highway between cities. A certified pilotless air taxi carrying real passengers, years ahead of everyone. And at the top, one company in Shenzhen holding roughly 70% of every drone on Earth. A grip so total that governments are trying and failing to pry it loose. The United States invented the drone, China took the sky, and it did it so quietly, one delivery and one farm and one light show at a time, that most of the West only noticed once the sky was already gone. Close plus comment bait. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button and subscribe so you are here for the next one. It genuinely takes a huge amount of research to put a video like this together, and your support is what keeps this channel going. Now I want to hear from you, and this one has 2 very different sides. On one hand, these drones deliver food over traffic, spray crops without poisoning workers, fly up burning buildings, and might soon fly you across town for the price of a taxi. Genuinely useful. Genuinely amazing technology. On the other hand, having one country control almost the entire world's drone supply, with all the data and strategic power that comes with it, makes a lot of people deeply uneasy. So tell me where you land. Is China's drone dominance just a company building better products and winning fair and square? Or is it something the rest of the world should be genuinely worried about? And be honest, what brand is the last drone you saw flying? Drop your answer in the comments below. I read every single one.